Alright, hello everybody, Zaxtor99, back with another First Impressions review. This one is a first play on launch day review. Now we're looking here at my own game called Laser Ball, which I released on Steam back on March 30th of this year. Now today we're going to be doing a first play on launch day of not my game Laser Ball, but instead the real Laser Ball, because my game is not real. The real Laser Ball just launched today, August 21st, and it was released by Homserio Games. Now this is their first game on Steam, comes in at a price tag of just 99 cents, and it looks like a arcade action game, much like my own Laser Ball, but a lot different than my own as well. Now, if we look at some of the gameplay here, we see a laser coming from a ball that you control. So the name Laser Ball would definitely make sense for this game. And I found it kind of interesting when I went down and looked at his description. He said, "Why the real?" before Laser Ball. He said Laser Ball's a pretty rad name and an accurate description for his game. However, Laser Ball was already taken, so was Laser Sphere, Laser Orb, and etc. So he had to go with the real Laser Ball. The question is, though, is the real Laser Ball any fun? And more importantly, is it worth your 99 cents? That's a question we're going to ask and find out right after this. Alright everybody, welcome back to the real Laser Ball. And this is a Unity game. When you see the game pop up, you're going to see this menu, the real Laser Ball. Kind of a little bit of static on the main menu. I'm not sure exactly what that's about. But you have the options to play the game. You have a manual. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick and show you that. In the manual, it just gives you a lot of text about kind of what you're doing, how you move, how you can rotate and then thrust backwards from where your laser is facing. So whenever you thrust, you're going away from your laser, and then you're trying to avoid the edges of the screen and shoot the blocks, if you would. Pretty much the gameplay goes into the same kind of thing, talks about your gravity and the the bricks coming in. Here on the enemies, it shows what your enemies look like. Red for the most basic enemy. I probably would have changed, if I was the developer, I probably would have changed the basic one to orange or something, and then made it get progressively more red. Maybe pink for the shooter, and then made the bomber red. But hey, that's, it's his game, his choice. Anyway, your red is your smaller one, has low health, and moves quickly towards you. The shooter will fire projectiles at you as well, has more health. And then the bomber at the bottom, the pink one, moves slowly towards the player while growing to a full size, and it will explode once it gets its full size, and it launches projectiles as well. And the bomber has the most health. Pickups, you have a credit drop. The yellow one is credits to spend for upgrades. You have a shield drop, which will give you an extra shield charge to kind of protect you if it's if you get in trouble, and that's like a light blue sparkle. And then the pink sparkle is a pulse drop, which will give you another pulse charge. Pulses are good in this game for when you get in a lot of trouble. It's kind of like a bomb, if you would. You kind of blow up the whole screen, but it's a pulse that goes away from you. So, pretty cool power-ups. My only gripe with these power-ups, or pickups rather, is that they look a lot like the background. So when you see the game, especially all those dots flying in the background, look too much like the power-ups. It's really hard to see them when you're playing the game. And they don't last very long at all. I mean, they're only on the screen for like 5 seconds, I think, and if you don't pick them up, they're gone. And then it talks here about how you can use your credits to buy different upgrades to make you stronger. So let's go ahead and show you how this game works, if you would. I am using a controller. I did forget to show you the controls and how, the options, so I'll do that here in a moment. But there's my sparkle, like you're talking about. It's already went away. By the time I even saw it, the damn thing is already gone. And like I say, especially the pink sparkle is so hard to see with this background. So my first suggestion to the developer would be either change the background so it's easier to see those pickups, or change your pickups to look something more solid, or look a lot different than the background. Right now the pickups in the background just look too similar and it's really hard to see them. Let's go ahead and come back to the main menu here, guys, because all we did was look at the manual. You have your upgrades. You can spend your cash that you earn in the game, like by picking up those pickups, to buy shields, pulses, a combination, magnets, which will pull credits and pickups for you. Think of this as like my mother sucker in Rock and Roll, if you guys have seen that. It's pretty much the same thing as my mother sucker in Rock and Roll. And then a combo, after killing any enemy, the combo will multiply the value of the credit pickups and enemy scores. Okay, so basically this is to give you more points, more credits. Damage, the higher the level, the more health enemies will have. This upgrade increases the damage of your laser. So this is going to be a good one as you level up. You're probably going to want to try to, you know, increase your damage. And I believe once you buy these upgrades, it's going to carry over to all your future games. I don't think this is kind of like my game where you do a upgrade and it's only good for that game. I think that once you upgrade, you're going to have it on your account. I could be wrong. And then level, upgrade the start of the game at a higher level. You can only start at levels you've already achieved, so you can spend credits to increase your level as well. Alright, so that is that, guys. Let's go ahead and go back to the menu here. Alright, guys, so what I wanted to show you real quick was the options here. And when you go in here to your game options, you do have separate controls for your master volume, your music volume, and your sound effects. I believe these are all 100 by default, so you need to change these. Now, anytime you change something, like if you change your music, you have to hit the enter key to set that in. No, not the music and sound effects, but the resolution. Notice how it says press submit to apply? That basically means just hit your enter key. So for example, I believe your resolution starts at like 1280. Yeah, it starts right here. So if you want to change it to like 1920 by 1080, for example, or 16 by 900, as soon as you do that, you just need to hit your enter key, and that will apply that change. And the default for full screen is a no. So if you change it to yes here, again, you just need to hit your enter key to apply that change. And then you can go into controls here, and this is a big problem I had with this game. The controls using a keyboard, you don't really have mouse control. It doesn't allow you to use any kind of mouse buttons. So that made it really difficult for me to do everything I wanted to do and to set the keys. I didn't like the default keys on the keyboard for this game. I know it used your arrow keys and left control and left shift and some other key. I tried 3 or 4 different combinations with a keyboard, and I hated all the different control mechanisms on the keyboard. I couldn't get anything I liked. So what I finally did is plugged in my controller. I would definitely recommend playing this game with a controller because the default controls for a controller are pretty damn good. It's still really hard, but controller with this game is way better than trying to use the keyboard. So let me go ahead and put that out there. If you want to reset all your leaderboard entry and save data and all that, you would go reset here. And we go back to the main menu. And the only other option here, guys, is go into scores and then, of course, exit. You can exit the game. And here you can kind of go to your Steam high scores and find global high scores, friends, and ranking. But at least right now, there is no high scores on Steam, or this is not working. I'm going to guess this is not working yet. So, yeah, we'll wait for that to come into effect, either as more people play the game or when the developer gets that part of the game working. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and play the game just a little bit more. I'm horrible at this game. Like I say, I only tried it a few times. The trailer for the game makes it look really easy. He has all kinds of red blocks coming at him. And I really believe this is going to be one of those kind of games that once you get the hang of it, I think it's going to be really rewarding. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. I know my own Rock and Roll is kind of the same way. A lot of people found that game really hard to start with. But once you kind of learn how to control your ship in my Rock and Roll game, I think that's where the fun really starts. So it's going to take some time to get used to. Even with a controller, you're seeing that I'm hitting that boundary all the time. So one thing you can do is you can kind of hit the L2 button, and it takes away your laser, but you don't have as much gravity, but you still crash. And the problem is if you use the L2 button to take away your laser, suddenly the R2 button to thrust doesn't do anything. So it gives you even less control. So I don't really understand that whole mechanism because I can't kill the blocks and I have even less control of my ship. Like I say, I'm still new at this game, and I'm not really understanding this whole thing, because I really feel like the developer should at least let you thrust, maybe even more so if you hold the L2 button in, if you take away that gravity. The only way you have any control with your R2 button and your thrust is to leave your laser on. So I kind of feel like the game needs a little bit of work, to be honest with you. I feel like the controls could definitely use some work. I think it could be better than what it is right now. Right now it's just too damn hard, especially if you're using just the keyboard. And as you can see, it's really tough with a controller as well. I'm sure the developer can play the game fine, but I really feel like this is one of those games that only the developer is going to be really good at, or maybe somebody that's put a lot of time into it. And for 95% of the people that buy this game, they might be like hating life. So I'm not so sure that he wants the controls quite so difficult. I would really encourage the developer to maybe look at controls that work a little bit better, or at least make it so that if you hit the L2 button to take away your laser, I mean, you don't have a laser, so at least make the thrust work, you know, because you have no control at all. I have no control. I'm just at the wheel of what direction I'm going. That doesn't seem right to me. If you lose your laser, I should have more control over my bubble, my ship, whatever I am, than I do when I have a laser. There's got to be a risk and reward factor there. You take something away from me, you got to give me something back, not give me less control as well. I just don't understand the whole point of that, I guess. Anyway, as you can see, I am just trying to stay alive by not hitting the boundaries. Trying to, you know, it's tough, guys. This is a tough game right now. I do think it's worth the money, especially if the developer really takes a look at, you know, the backgrounds for the pickups, like I mentioned. They're really hard to see on the background right now. I would recommend making the credit pickup be green in color. Kind of makes more sense than yellow. I just think a green pickup for credits makes more sense than yellow pickup. I think some of the colors, you know, could be adjusted to make more sense. Colors on his enemies and the credits and stuff. And the pickups are really hard to see on the background, like I've already mentioned. Controls could use some work, especially on the keyboard. Even if he keeps the same kind of controls with the controller that he has now, I would definitely rework the keyboard, how things work on the keyboard, because right now it's so difficult to play on the keyboard, and that's just my opinion. Alright guys, let's go ahead and grade this game based on what I think the game is right now. Value is my most important criteria on any game. It's worth 40% of my score and 40 points. And value here at 99 cents is all this game is. And I feel like he's got some good gameplay in here, even if it's really challenging. I feel like you're getting a good bang for your buck. I feel like most people probably aren't going to play this for an hour because they're going to get too freaking frustrated with the controls. But hey, for people that like a hardcore challenging game, I think they're going to get easily their money's worth. And I can't do anything but give this game a full value score. 40 out of 40 for value is my score here. I think, you know, he's priced it definitely at a reasonable price for what you get. I would like to see him work on some of the things and make it a better game and a less frustrating game, and do a couple of the suggestions that I mentioned. But hey, even if he doesn't, I still think you're getting a pretty good bang for your buck. So 40 out of 40 there. Fun is my next criteria, guys. It's worth 30 points. How much fun is the game? I think this is one of those games that's going to be less fun the newer you are at it, and the better you get at controlling yourself, the longer you can last without crashing and dying. I think you're going to have more fun with the game as you get better. Like I say, right now I'm not having as much fun as I'll probably have an hour from now after I get another hour's worth of practice. But overall, guys, I'm going to give this game I'm going to give it a 22 out of 30. I think that's probably about what it'll be as long as you spend a little bit of time with it and get halfway decent at it. I think the fun's pretty respectable. 22 out of 30. My next first impression score on this game, guys. Again, remember all my scores are just the first impression score. based on my first impressions of the game, and they could change later on as I get better at the game or as the developer makes changes to the game, etc., etc. But the next criteria is controls and bugs, guys, and this is where this game is going to score really low. Some of the controls just make no sense, like the L2 button, whatever that is, to take my laser away. Whatever this is makes no sense to me. Again, if I take the laser away, I should have more control of my ship, not less. I really have a problem with that. And mainly the controls on the keyboard. I feel like not everybody's going to have a controller to plug into their computer, especially like people that have a laptop or whatever. They may not have a controller sitting around for their PC that they can use. And I think it's really going to put them in a hard situation, because even a controller is really hard to control your ship. My controls and bugs, guys, right now is going to be really low. I'm going to give this game a 3 out of 20. I really think the controls could use a lot more work. I really do not like the controls they are here. More so for the keyboard than the controller. But I'm going to give it based on the lowest score. And right now, the keyboard controls are god-awful. I hate them. And yeah, controls, and also there's a little bit of a lag. Every once in a while I'm playing, the game kind of lags out, and I don't know if that's my computer or the game. I'm not really going to take any points away for that. Pretty much all my points being taken away are just for really bad controls, really affecting the keyboard. I think this game is damn near impossible to play with just a keyboard. So 3 out of 20 there, guys. And my last criteria is graphics and sound. As I've proven many times, guys, it doesn't take, really gorgeous 3D graphics or anything like that to make a really fun game to play. The graphics are plenty good to have a really fun game to play. I just think the controls need a little bit of work. I think some of the colors could be changed a little bit, as I've already mentioned. But I'm going to give this game for the type of game it is, I think it's pretty good. I think you could do a little bit more with the blocks. The blocks are a little bit basic. Maybe if he made them look like 3D blocks or something, I don't know. Kind of like ice cubes where you can kind of see the other side or something. I don't know. But I'm going to give this game, I'm going to go ahead and give it, for the kind of game it is, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6 out of 10. And that is my score, guys. So if we add that all up, 40 out of 40 for value, 22 for fun is 62. 3 out of 20 for controls and bugs is 65. And then a 6 out of 10 for graphics and sound. I like the music, I like the sound effects in the game. You wind up with a 71%. Not a bad score, but I think this game could definitely be helped by reworking some of the controls, making it easier to control yourself, especially on the keyboard. And I think this game could be well up in the 80s. So, pretty good game here. I think it's a little bit difficult, mainly because the controls are really awful, especially on the keyboard, like I mentioned. So 71 is my score, guys, for the Real Laser Ball. Be sure you let me know what you think down in the comments below, and if this video has sparked you to go try your hands at the game, be sure you let me know down in the comments below, and let me know if you have as hard a time with the controls in the game as I have. We'll see you later, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Zaxtorian 99. Take care.